Maybe this one. You want the founding member or you want just a regular one? Thank you. Thank you so much. Hi, Fern. Don't do that. That's right. And you have the access now to Christmas tree.
Oh, okay.
It's in the Air Force One.
Air Force One.
Air Force One is there. So you can show this. You have access to Christmas tree. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wala mi nang gigit ang pompe para na.
Oh.
In the Old West, this iconic sound summoned all within earshot to mealtime, knowing the land they were exploring would one day be home. As pioneers settled America from sea to shining sea, through the hardships of a wild and untamed land, they withstood extreme conditions and overcame whatever obstacles nature put in their path to reach the blue Pacific. This idyllic homestead was first settled when Jose Jesus Pico raised an adobe cottage in 1872. It's a high plains Eden that blends the different cultures and traditions of those who have lived here before. In 1974, Ronald and Nancy Reagan named it Rancho del Cielo, Heaven's Ranch. A perfect description that still holds true today. In fact, they're here today. And earlier, President and Mrs. Reagan went off on horseback to enjoy the beauty of the great outdoors. The Reagans tackled the ranch's reconstruction with their famous respect for the land and its traditions, working the land themselves, honoring its authenticity to protect its historic roots in the Golden West. Well, it sounds like the President and First Lady have returned from their ride. As he tends to the horses, let's head over to the tack room, where we'll meet with the President as he puts away his riding gear. That sounds like the President now. Hello, Mr. President.
Hello.
It's a gorgeous day.
You know, I've been in and out of this place for years, and I have never seen it look as beautiful as this.
Tell us about your ride, Mr. President.
Well,
Please, please get settled.
Nancy and I went 7 miles up a switchback road. I must admit, Nancy's quite an accomplished horsewoman.
She sure is. Mr. President, could you tell us about the ranch?
Well, I'm proud of Rancho del Cielo, a 350-acre ranch overlooking the Pacific Ocean. It truly is America the Beautiful.
Yes, and it's very peaceful here too. Do you find that your time on the ranch helps you balance the pressures that come with being president?
To my mind, nothing compares with the kinship between man and animal you find on the back of a horse. I'm not sure what it is, but there you are, in charge of an animal with more muscle in its neck than you have in your whole body. From the minute the horse takes his first step, every muscle in your own body responds to it. How much of this experience is physical and how much is mental, I don't know. But there's no better place for me to think than on the top of a horse.
Now that sounds like a great way to collect your thoughts. Since we only have a few minutes with you today, Mr. President, are there any messages about the country and its future you'd like to share with us?
We've got to do a better job of getting across that America is freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of enterprise, and freedom is special and rare. So we've got to teach history based not on what's in fashion, but what's important. If we forget what we did, we won't know who we are. Let's start with some basics. More attention to American history and a greater emphasis on civic ritual.
Thank you, Mr. President. You've been very kind.
Say, you wouldn't mind if I told just one more story, would you? Maybe you know this one about the old boy that taken over some creek bottom land and it was rocky and covered with brush. He got rid of all the rocks and hauled them away, and then he planted, and he really had a beautiful garden there. And one day at church, he asked the minister to come back with him after the sermon. Well, the Reverend arrived and he said, "Oh my, God has certainly blessed this land. I've never seen anything so wonderful. And look at the corn. I've never seen anything as tall as that. God certainly has been good to this place." And he went on that way until finally the old man was beginning to shuffle a little bit, said, "Reverend, I wish you could have seen it when the Lord was doing it by himself."
Great story, sir. Any closing thoughts?
And so it is with our nation. We've been blessed with a vast and beautiful land and with an energetic and enterprising people. Yet it's up to us to keep our nation prosperous, strong, and free. Thank you all very much for being here. God bless you.
Thank you. That is good. Thank you. Hold on. Sit down, fine. I'll go there. That's fine. Over there? Okay, you read it and then Can you read it?
Yeah, I can. So with all the creative energy at our command,
His winning smile intact, the bulletproof vest slips under the graduate sweater. He leaves the hospital.
I can read
Hopefully, screen time. Yeah. Alright, thank you.
So what you're looking at is an exact replica of the Oval Office during President Reagan's second term in office. The Oval Office the president inherited had been decorated by his predecessor, Jimmy Carter. And during the first 4 years of President Reagan's presidency, he altered the interior to take on the look and feel that he wanted his office to have. And that look and feel was primarily his love of the Southwest. Now, for those of you who saw the hologram out there, you saw how he really loved to ride on a horse. He was in the cavalry. He owned horses at all of his 3 ranches in California, and he had horses at his ranch in the Maryland Mountains at Camp David. He couldn't bring a horse into the Oval Office, but he could bring in the Southwest colors that he so much loved. The statues across the way represent the history of the saddle of modern civilization. Behind you, you see Remingtons. Behind me is another Remington. And then there was a Russell here. And the statues of the cowboys. And what he can do is bring in to the Oval Office that love of horsemanship. He always said he did his best thinking on the back of a horse. So if he couldn't bring a horse here, he could at least bring his love of horses to his Oval Office. Now, everything on top of the desk are artifacts except for the phone. He could take everything on top of the desk, but he had to leave the phone for the next guy. So the phone is not an artifact. The plaques on the desk pretty much represent the man. He has one plaque that says it can't be done. He didn't want his team coming to him telling him all the reasons he couldn't accomplish things. He wanted them to help him get it done. How are we going to accomplish it? The next plaque said there's no limit to what a man can do or how far he can go. If he doesn't mind, who gets the credit? And President Reagan felt very strongly about that statement. The last plaque is interesting because it was a gift from the Kennedy family to President Reagan. That plaque was on John F. Kennedy's desk, and it says, never fear to negotiate, but never negotiate out of fear. And Edward Kennedy and President Reagan were from different parties. They didn't always agree on things, but they did try and accomplish goals together and compromise, and they became very good friends. And when this library was founded, Edward Kennedy would come here regularly to speak, and itself. There are 4 doors to the room. The first door here goes out to the Rose Garden or out to the colonnade. The second door is where the president's secretary would sit, and beyond that is the cabinet room. The third door built into the wall over here is where the Secret Service sit, and if you were visiting the president, that's where you would come in through. You would be vetted and ushered in to meet with the president. And this final door over here is a private area for the president. It's got a bathroom, it's got a study, and it's got an eating area. Now, at this time of year, we have the tea setting and the menorah. Those were both in the Oval Office during the holiday season. All the pictures behind the desk are the president's family pictures, except for 2 pictures with President Reagan and Dwight D. Eisenhower. And President Reagan considered Dwight D. Eisenhower like family. They became friends earlier in the president's life when they were introduced to each other by Nancy Reagan's father, Dr. Loyal Davis. And it was through that friendship that they had many enduring years together. In fact, President Reagan, who was a Democrat early in his life, tried to convince Dwight Eisenhower to run for president as a Democrat. Of course, Eisenhower ran for the presidency as a Republican. The chair was President Reagan's personal chair. He used it 8 years as governor, 8 years as president, and then in his personal office in Century City, California, before he donated it to the library. The jelly bean jar has a interesting history behind it. President Reagan was a smoker. When he became governor, Nancy Reagan told him that he needed to give up smoking, that it was a bad habit, and it sent the wrong signal to the children of California that people would now look up to him, and he could not be seen smoking. Well, he gave up smoking, but he would have a craving, and every time he had a craving, he used to chew on jelly beans. He then became friends with the folks that ran the Jelly Belly Company, because it's located very close to Sacramento, and they made a number of flavors specifically for the president, including the famous blueberry blue Jelly Belly, because that allowed the president, when he became president, to give away red, white, and blue jelly beans to all of his guests at his inauguration.
Yeah. Remember I went to a jelly belly?
Anything I can answer for any of you before you move on?
Any questions?
You pretty much covered it.
Okay, well, listen, I want to thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Now, up ahead, you still have the Air Force One plane that was used by 7 presidents. You've got the Marine One helicopter. You've got the Christmas tree exhibit. And at the end of your visit today, the Pompeii exhibit is out there. And outside is the presidential burial site, a piece of the Berlin Wall, a new memorial we have to Gold Star family. So there's a lot to see. Enjoy your visit here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.
hit anything in front of your parents.
Let me take a picture, boys. Come on.
And 3.
Okay, thank you so much.
I think you've all been nice, so I'll see you on
All right.
Tuesday morning.
Thank you so much.
I'm sorry? The mask?
70s?
Oh. I was prepared for emergency. But that look at the in the middle. That's the football. That's the you know what football is?
Yeah.
What is football?
Yeah.
Actually, it's code for the military nuclear control transmission system. Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome to your first one.
How old's your
Oh, this is
I'm gonna take a picture on the other side right there, okay? Oops, we have to stop.
46 years old.
Alright, boys.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How come your dad isn't doing it? This.
They have to do
Except President, this is Reagan, the Secret Service, and the flight deck in the front. While the food was the same, however, burgers, mac and cheese was President Reagan liked to eat. The chocolate cake was always the most requested by President Reagan. It was for anybody's birthday or any celebration. If it wasn't, then they would eat the cake anyways. The real cakes would come from Watergate Bakery in Washington, D.C. Sure, thank you for
Thank
coming.
you,
Thank you
thanks.
for coming.
Thank you. Oh, so this side I can take picture, boys, again. Hello, hi. Hi. Santa is taking you to the White House.
Hello? You're the real one.
You have any questions, boys? Want to know?
Do you want some info? Yeah,
Sure.
you
yeah,
can. Oh, cool. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You want one?
Yeah.
Because you had to do
Yeah.
It's from the people who make it.
Kurt, this isn't dragging.
You drag the right answer.
Drag. I can't drag. Drag. What? What? What are you doing?
Americans who will be afflicted with Alzheimer's disease. Upon learning this news, Nancy and I had to decide whether as private citizens we would keep this a private matter or whether we would make this news known in a public way. At the moment I feel just fine. I intend to
The passing of a president tonight. Ronald Reagan, surrounded by his family, died at his home in California today after a long and difficult battle.
With faith in Jesus Christ, receive the body of our brother.
Final letter to the American people, Dad wrote, I now begin the journey that will lead me into the sunset of my life. This evening, we always said. Too often in our lives to stop believing in it now. Let history say of us, these were golden years when the American Revolution was reborn, when freedom gained new life and America reached for her best. As we continue our journey, we think of those who traveled before us. These are the boys who went to hope. These are the men who took the cliffs. These are the champions who helped free a continent. These are the heroes who helped end a war. And we see and hear again the echoes of our past. The song echoes out forever and fills the unknowing air. It is the American sound. It is hopeful, big-hearted, idealistic, daring, decent, and fair.
The first woman ever nominated to the Supreme Court of the United States.
That's our heritage. That's our song. We sing it still, for all our problems, our differences. We are together as a board. We raise our voices to the God who is the author of this most tender music. And may He continue to hold us close as we fill the world with our sound in unity, affection, and love.
Everybody's looking forward to just being able to help, and that's what we're here to do.
One people, under God.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Dedicated to the dream of freedom that He has placed in the human heart.
Waving their new passports, they rush forward, streaming across the border.
Call them on now to pass that dream of freedom on to a waiting and a hopeful world.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
Mr. Reagan was speaking his first public appearance since the shooting. I have a letter with me. The letter came from Peter Sweeney. He's in the second grade in the Riverside School in Rockville Center. And he said, I hope you get well quick, or you might have to make a speech in your pajamas.
history may say about me when I'm gone, I hope it will record that I appeal to your best hopes, not your worst fears, to your confidence rather than your doubts. In this springtime of hope, some lights seem eternal. America's is. Thank you. God bless you. God bless America.
Alright, get something from.
What is a memo?
Just like a jot down notes.
Are we gonna go jump up that mountain?
That's the lights for tonight. Gifts.